If you're a man and you're looking to buy a new fragrance and you want that fragrance to be good, then a pretty good place to start would be a video about the top 10 best men's fragrances of all time. And it just so happens, I've got one for you, right here. Every year, the popular fragrance website Fragrantica does an awards and the public vote for best fragrances in different categories. This one is what Fragrantica readers have voted as the top 10 best men's fragrances of all time. Not of the year, not of last week, not of today, of all time. So these are big ones. And I can tell you right now that every single fragrance on this list is an absolute banger. If you bought any one of these, you are going to have an amazing fragrance. I love all 10. So let's get into the list and see what we've got. At number 10, it's Jean-Paul Gaultier's La Nuit Parfum. First off, you do have some of that very sexy, tried and tested La Nuit DNA. But they modernized things with this, they've brought it right up to date, they've added some powdery iris and some vanilla. I would now describe the original La Nuit fragrance, the one in the green bottle, as a men's classic. It came out in 1995, so quite a few years have passed, but I would describe La Nuit Parfum as a men's modern classic. What I really enjoy about this is, like I mentioned, it brings it up to date. It brings in this slightly lipsticky iris note. It's not as lipsticky as in a lot of other fragrances that use that note, like in the Dior Homme line, Prada, L'Homme. This just has a little bit of that lovely powdery iris quality, just the right amount, blending in seamlessly with that beautiful original La Nuit DNA. But then it adds some vanilla, which brings a bit of a density to the fragrance. It's slightly heavier, slightly thicker, I think, than the original. And I love it for those reasons, because it adds a bit of weight, a bit of extra gravitas. It's a stunning reinterpretation of the La Nuit DNA. I love wearing this and I have absolutely no problem with it being voted as one of the best men's fragrances of all time. If you like compliments, if you want to get them, you probably want to get hold of Layton by Parfum. This is a very attention-grabbing scent, which is why people claim they get a lot of compliments, partly to do with this combination of cold spices and warm spices. All the spices just come together, meet in the middle, and create this explosion of spiciness. It's also a little bit fruity. There's some apple in this. There's lavender, so lavender gives it this slightly classical masculine edge to a very modern smelling spicy fragrance. It's a strong, powerful scent. It's got a very pleasing smell. There's probably not going to be anyone out there who doesn't like this scent. So if you want to please yourself and please everybody else out there who smells you, and you maybe want to get a few compliments, then Layton from Parfum is an absolute banger, and I can see why people have voted this as one of the best of all time, because I think it is. Oh Dior, what can the matter be? In the last couple of years, there's been some releases that, have caused a little bit of discussion, shall we say. One of those was the new interpretation of Dior Homme Parfum, which didn't smell anything like the original Dior Homme Parfum that so many of us fell in love with and loved and wanted to keep buying because we loved it so much. But we can't, because they changed it, and there is not currently the original version. This one is the one that has been voted as one of the best men's fragrances of all time. This is the original Dior Homme Parfum. This really does earn its Parfum name because it takes that lipsticky iris DNA of the original Dior Homme, which is fantastic, but this makes things darker and thicker and richer. One of the ways it does that is with leather, which in my opinion injects it with some masculine attitude. It is quite a floral fragrance because, as well as the iris, there's rose, and it's not a very rosy scent, but you can detect it in there. And the florals in this seem to follow this trend that they started with the Dior Homme line of being a floral fragrance, but also managing to be masculine. They've almost shifted the perception of florals not leaning feminine, but being associated with masculinity. I feel like marketing campaigns and labeling it Dior Homme, obviously it's a men's marketed fragrance. If you buy a fragrance with Homme on the bottle, it's masculine, right? Despite what it smells like. So it's just all about perceptions, and I think Dior did that one very cleverly. They marketed this one really well. In my opinion, this is an insanely good fragrance. A little bit sad that it's not available anymore. I guess it makes this original formula even more sought after, but I think there's every chance that down the line Dior could release a Dior Homme Parfum original like they did with the Dior Homme original. So we'll have to see. This one might not be completely dead and buried, but for the time being, you can't buy this anymore. Of all the brands that trend, of all the brands that get talked about and get hyped, I think in the last year or two, this is the one that has been hyped the most. The brand is Louis Vuitton, and I think this is probably the most hyped fragrance from that brand. This is Imagination. This one is categorized as a citrus aromatic because it is indeed an aroma with citruses in it, so that makes sense. But this is not just a freshie. Oh no, it's quite a bit more than that. Two notes that I think work together really well in a fresh citrus fragrance that add some extra depth and a little bit more complexity, and neroli and tea, and this fragrance has both of those in. But things don't stop there with Imagination, because in addition to the neroli, to the tea, to the citruses, there's some warm spices, there's some punchy ginger, some warming cinnamon, but then there's also some olibanum. So olibanum is essentially myrrh, so that is providing a resinous depth. So this is a fresh fragrance with depth, with a little bit of complexity. So like I said, this isn't just a freshie. If there was such a thing as an elevated freshie, I would say that it's this. I think this is a masterful, elegant blend, and sometimes that's all you need to create a fragrance that is loved, that is hyped. I would say this is not overhyped. The hype is justified, and I can see why it is in the list of top 10 best men's fragrances of all time. Moving on to a fragrance that is definitely in my top 10 list of fragrances of all time. If I was going to sell all my fragrances and get rid of them all and keep only 10, this would definitely be in them, because it's an absolute stunner from Xerjoff Naxos. Naxos is a gorgeous honeyed tobacco scent, but it isn't too heavy. It's not a fragrance that you would only wear in the fall and winter, because there's other things going on. It's very aromatic. There's some citrus, bit of bergamot in there. There's lavender, which gives it a classic masculine feel. I've always said I love Naxos because I love its versatility. It gives me everything I want out of a honeyed tobacco scent, but it adds this extra little bit of freshness, makes it a little bit more aromatic than a lot of honey tobacco fragrances that maybe I would choose more to wear in autumn and winter. But I can wear this all year round, and I can love it as much in the summer as I can in the autumn and winter. You know, there's some fragrances that you acquire and you just feel good about having them on the shelf. You feel like you've got them there to call upon whenever you need an absolutely stunning fragrance. Well, that's exactly how I felt about Naxos the day that I got this into my hands, the day I got this in my collection. I would never want to be without it, and I would definitely say this is one of the best men's fragrances of all time.
If you love fragrance as much as I do, head over to my online store, luxparfum.co.uk. You'll find my favourite brands, plus brands you can't find anywhere else in the UK. Link is in the description.
We got a spicy little number for the next one. This has been with us since 2009, or has it? Because people would argue the version you buy now isn't the version that we could buy in 2009. Nevertheless, I think it still smells fantastic. This is La Nuit de l'Homme from YSL. This one is notable for having a very sexy, very attention-grabbing cardamom note paired with some aromatic lavender and masculine vetiver. I think of this almost as the designer version of Layton from Parfum de Marly that I've already talked about. It's got that very wearable, very mass-appealing, sexy, spicy quality about it. It's sort of a dumb reach. It's a fragrance that you could choose to wear anytime for any situation, and it's gonna work. It's gonna smell great, and people are probably gonna really enjoy smelling it. This would be a really good signature scent because it's not the heaviest of fragrances. It's not the longest lasting of fragrances. If you want that, if you want the statement making fragrance, look at Layton. But some people want something a little more subtle. They want that signature scent they can wear every day, they can wear for work, they can wear something that smells great, that becomes a part of them, that becomes their signature. But there's a subtle edge to it. It just blends in seamlessly with their persona. And I think La Nuit de l'Homme's doing that. So if you're looking for a fragrance that isn't too shouty, but is just subtly fantastic, La Nuit de l'Homme may be the one for you. And I can see why it's in this list. Voted as the 4th best men's fragrance of all time, for this year anyway, might change next year, is a classic from Chanel. This is Bleu de Chanel EDP. Fruity, woody, it's incensey. This is a gorgeous, very clean, some people say shower gel sort of fragrance. I've been guilty of comparing this to a shower gel sort of smell in the past, but I think that really does it an injustice. This is way more elevated than just a shower gel sort of smell. There's more going on. I think we have to give Chanel credit where credit's due, because they created something amazing with this. Look, shower gel smells great. It's made to smell great, but the problem with shower gel is it smells great when you're in the shower. The clue's in the name, and it doesn't really smell much beyond that. Whereas a fragrance like Bleu de Chanel will last way longer than just the shower. This will give you hours of enjoyment, and it certainly has for me. This could easily be a signature scent for me. Another classic men's citrus here for you now. This one is Terre. This one definitely leans into the orangey side of citrus, but there's some pepper, so it's got a spicy punchiness and a lovely dry woody masculine vetiver. I mean, what more can we say about Terre at this point? It's citrusy, it's woody, it's fresh, it's clean, it smells very masculine. I would say that it does smell a little more classical than modern. It's not quite got the spiciness that a lot of more modern smelling fragrances have, that also have a little bit of vanilla in there. This doesn't have those things, which is why this makes me think of more classical French men's perfumery. But if you want something that is maybe a little more classical rather than more modern and youthful, if you want something perhaps with a little more gravitas and presence, then Terre is going to give you that. If I was going to choose between Terre and Bleu de Chanel, I would probably just choose Bleu de Chanel over this one. But in my opinion, they are both two of the best men's fragrances of all time. Two fragrances left, and I would choose both of these over the previous two, so this list is working for me. Voted as the second best men's fragrance of all time, I think in previous years has been the number one, but this year it's number two. This is Dior Homme Intense. This has that lipsticky powdery iris at its heart. It's got that beautiful Dior Homme sort of smell, but there's a little more depth to it, a little bit of chocolatey cacao. So when Dior flipped things with the original Dior Homme and created a very masculine scent in what could traditionally have been more a feminine sort of smell, they followed it up with this and made it even more masculine. It's got a bit more depth than Dior Homme, it's slightly darker, it's a bit more mysterious, it's stronger. I guess I could round all that up by saying that it's more intense. And I gotta say, that extra little bit of intensity, it really works for me. As much as I love Dior Homme, this is the one for me. I find it so wearable, so pleasing to wear, so satisfying. This is one of my favorite designer fragrances of all time, so I'm happy that it's in this list. But what could be at number one? What fragrance could be voted higher than probably one of the best selling men's designer fragrances of all time, Dior Homme Intense? Well, it's probably the best selling men's niche fragrance of all time, Creed's Aventus. Yep, Creed nailed it with this one. They created a game changer. They just made a very masculine, woody, citrusy fragrance, a little bit of leather, and of course, that all important pineapple. Okay, it's Aventus. I'm sure most people watching this video don't need me to talk about how Aventus smells. And if you are one of those people that is very familiar with Aventus, you might also be a little bit fed up of Aventus, because there are about 1,000 copies of Aventus out there from various different brands, various companies, most of them a lot cheaper than this. If you're new to Aventus, then I would say definitely go and give it a smell. If you like that smell, go into a store, try Mont Blanc's Explorer, maybe go on Amazon and order Club de Nuit Intense. They are going to give you a very, very similar and much cheaper smell. But did those fragrances do it first? No, they didn't. This one did it first. And for that reason, I think those fragrances cannot even be in the conversation about best men's fragrances of all time. But Aventus can. This year, it's at number one. I can see why it is. Very popular fragrance. Aventus wins it this year. It's number one. It's the king. How many of those fragrances do you own? Do you own any of them? I've got a full 10 on this one, so I'm pretty happy about how I'm doing with my collection. Are there any in this list that you don't think should be here? Are they not worthy of being in the conversation about top 10 best men's fragrances of all time, both niche or designer? This is all of them. What's your best men's fragrance of all time, and is it in this list? Did it make the cut? So now we've got to the end of the list, we can talk about how it compares to last year's list. It's pretty much all the same fragrances, just in a slightly different order. So at least there's some consistency here with the voting, but there is one notable difference. We had Acqua di Gio Profumo, that is not in the list this year. We do have Louis Vuitton's Imagination. So the hype machine of Imagination continues to roll on, and it is now being talked about as one of the best men's fragrances of all time. What do you think about that? Is it overhyped, or do you think the hype is justified on Imagination? That's it. That's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like. It really helps. Subscribe if you haven't already. And if you do that, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Bye.